Oh, okay. I know what
Good
I
after.
want to talk about.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad you do because we're live now. Welcome to
Oh,
Hot
good.
Takes,
That's great.
everybody. This afternoon, we've got a lot of regulars in chat. Welcome, guys. Lots of people
Thank
from the
you for
server.
coming.
Glad to see you here. And some new people. Glad to see you guys here for this very special episode with Carl Carlson from popular Swedish vaporwave duo Runners Club 95. We got a lot of very exciting things that we want to talk to Carl about, and we'll do a little more expansive introduction here in a little bit. But I want to remind everybody that all takes are welcome. Just keep it kind. Punching up is encouraged. Punching down is not. No sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, or xenophobia on Hot Takes allowed. But you're still welcome to argue, debate, geek out, and of course, drop your hottest of takes. Want to go over the fact that we have a ability to put emojis on the screen. So if you make a smiley face like that, you'll see it on the screen, or any other like icons from Twitch. And then we have a series of commands that are designated by an exclamation point. For instance, you can type exclamation point comp and check out the new Hot Takes Volume 1 compilation. Exclamation point Discord allows you to join the Discord server. Exclamation point donate, if the spirit moves you, will allow you to donate so that Skelly can get a phone that doesn't tip over. Exclamation point follow. You can follow us on socials. And then, of course, we have an individual. Exclamation point Skelly is Skelly's socials. SHIRO are mine. The Spotify exclamation point will allow you to check out all the specially curated playlists that former guests have made for us, along with our own official playlist. We didn't have much of a pre-roll today, but Will Wade from duo iClick and grindcore band Gallstones and his own solo new project, Fawn Solo, has a prog rock, specially curated prog rock mixtape for y'all to check out on Spotify.
And then Will Wade curated it, that he's going to curate the most authentic examples possible. The man prides himself on that.
He really does. He is a fan of the highest of art. So check out those Spotify playlists. And then I know I'm going to forget something, but we'll just go over the fact that you can hit that exclamation point Vaporade and check out the entire VOD of the Vaporade live stream that Quiz put together back in April. And then if you want to buy a shirt for that, exclamation point shirt will allow you to buy shirts with the full lineup designed by B. Fant. So that's it. We're going to start off today with some recommendations. I'm going to do those recs, and then Skelly's got a hot take for us, and then we'll bring on Carl from Runners Club 95. First recommendation I have, just keeping it close to the vaporwave. I always like to start with something that's like, vapor or vapor adjacent. This is not a new album. I was late to the game. I want to highly recommend a specific Telepath album that I bought on a whim, thanks to the recommendation of a one Roge Corp. Shout out Roge Corp. It's called A. It's a 4-track mini album. Starts with the track Dream Girl. Oh no, you spilled your beer.
No, it's not a beer. It's a Monster.
Damn. Okay.
Those
Anyways,
alcoholic beverages are bad for you. Just
sugar-free.
Yeah,
Can't recommend them.
No long-term repercussions from these, I'm sure.
Everyone knows who Telepath is. Everyone knows what Slush Wave is. But the thing about A by Telepath is it is some of the most ethereal and, in my opinion, just fucking like otherworldly. Now, Telepath has always been known for making otherworldly, ethereal music, but that first track, Dream Girl, is just incredibly evocative.
I know exactly what song you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. So all four of the tracks, it's only a 4-track album, are very long. They're like, well, not as long as some of the shit he makes, but they're all about 10 minutes long. And they're all just beautiful. And towards the end, it actually gets kind of active, more active sounding. A lot of like original compositions by him. It's so good. And I had heard Dream Girl years ago, but just like never got the album. I don't know why. So shout out Roge Corp. I finally got it. Thank you for linking it, Lux. I had that link locked and loaded. Definitely check out A if you want to listen to something by the godfather of Slush Wave. You have to give Dream Catalog money if you want to listen to it. But you know what? I did it. You can say what you want. I got a physical copy of this next rec. I want to give a highly recommend to Bubble Universe by Non-Local Forecast, one of Fire Tools' side projects. If you ever listened to Fire Tools and you liked the jazz fusion, you should. If you like the jazz fusion, but you're not crazy about the black metal vocals, which admittedly it took me a long time to come around, even though I loved metal music growing up. It really did, man. It took me a fat minute to start to appreciate Angel's
I know that you
style.
listen to a lot of scrams and stuff, and the scram style vocals with black metal aren't too distant. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised that took you a minute.
It
or
did.
Was it just the combination took you?
I don't know. Sort of I really don't have an answer. And if you're listening, Angel, I'm sorry, but I'm here now, and you know it because you sent me these CDs after I begged you and pleaded you to. But anyways, Bubble Universe by Non-Local Forecast is just it's the jazz fusion part of Fire Tools sans the vocals, for better or for worse. It's a lot of fun. It's mixed very well, a lot of low end, and it's just fun. It's beautiful and fun, and she's just so skilled. She's so incredibly talented. It's all original compositions, and it sounds like something made in 1993. You know, highly recommend. And then to follow up with a album that is not a vaporwave album, but a kind of a vibe that I've been getting into that I plagued you with recently, Skelly. There is a there's this sub movement of some kind of experimental ambient electronic music.
Yeah, that was really good. This is the thing that you sent me, right?
Well, I sent you a lot of things. But the album that I specifically want to mention is by Mutate, and it's called They Are With You Always. I'm going to drop this link because I don't know if everyone will be able to find it. This is not vaporwave, but people who are into vaporwave are typically open-minded people that like experimental music, and a lot of vaporwave is very ambient, like Death Dream or a lot of Dream Catalog, Dream Punk stuff. So if you like stuff that's very meaningful and very emotional, maybe a little morose, this weird movement, and it's mostly on SoundCloud, Chris. That's why I mentioned in the pre-roll, before the show, that I really do love SoundCloud because there's a lot of great experimental electronic and ambient music that I'm finding. And in particular, this little mini album, There With You Always by Mutate, is something that I highly recommend that everybody check out if you like any sort of music that's ambient or drone or just sad sounding electronic music. I want to specifically recommend, let's see, I'm going to try to find some track titles. I want to recommend the track Frank's Hublots. I did send you that one, Skelly. It was the one that had the weird vocal, kind of just vocals. That. And then this one called Me When You. Anyways, I'm not going to keep rambling about that album, but it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I recommend anyone who likes experimental music check out They're With You Always by Mutate. And now to Skeleton Lipstick with today's hot take.
Okay, so I think that a lot of us can maybe understand that those of us who make music and who want people to hear it understand that when you are doing this, part of your job is to make the music, but of course you are your own cottage industry where you're a lot of times responsible for the promotion of it as well, and the distribution of it, and the act of moving it out from your world into other people's world. And I think that I see a lot of artists get really hung up in the promotion aspect to the point where they forget to continue to make music and continue to put out more albums. And this is something I think that happens to a lot of independent artists, where you get so lost in the idea of creating content to promote it or content to promote yourself that you get so far, all of a sudden you look back and it's been 2, 3, and I'm very guilty of this. I mean, you get very far away from the last time that you made the music at all. And I think that it's really important to just not get so lost in the promotion aspect of it. Because the problem with that now is we get this sort of, I don't know if we'd call it a dopamine hit, but you get some sort of hit of accomplishment when you make a good piece of promotion for yourself, or you talk about what you're going to do, and then you created this thing and you put it out there, and then you get a response from people seeing it, and that feels almost like it gives you like the fake satisfaction of creating something. You know what I mean? And you have to do this. You have to promote. You have to create these things. You have to engage an audience. But you have to always remember that's not the same as creating something and putting it out there. And the more that you get that reward of promoting yourself and promoting something you've already made, the less likely you're going to be to continue to work on new stuff. And I think a lot of artists get caught in this trap. And then it just like they don't release anything for years. And I think that it's really important to take a step back after you're promoting, or every time you promote your own music, or every time that you put out some sort of promotion, or every time you create some content that promotes your artist's identity. You should also go back and take a break from it and then just work on something. And it doesn't mean it needs to be done right away, but you should, for as many times as you go and promote something, and for as many times as you go and post about who you are or what you've done, for as many times as you're trying to engage or network with other people, you should, that same day, go back to your synthesizers or go back to your laptop, go back to your sampler and work on something. It doesn't need to get finished because it takes a long time to make music. It takes a long time to make art. But if you just spend all day promoting, networking, and creating your identity or whatever, and then don't work on anything at all after, you're gonna get farther and farther away from it until you get into panic mode and you're like, I have to make something, and then you rush something and then you put it out and then you're like, I don't know if I like that, but I had to get something out. You don't want to get into this spot where you feel like you're up against a wall and you realize it's been a long time since you put something out. So then you release, you go to your hard drive, your external hard drive, you find something that you had done before, but maybe you didn't think was good enough to put on the album. You're like, well, I'll just release this for now. I'll do this EP. I'll do this, whatever. Now buy me some time. Don't buy yourself time. Don't get into a position where you have to buy yourself time. So just when you go and you spend a lot of time promoting or engendering an identity and connecting with people, just take a little bit of time that same day to go and work on something that you plan to release relatively soon. So you just keep consistent with that as well. Anyway, that's my hot take.
Wise words. I love that, man. I'm not an artist, but I really would do well to sit behind the decks more frequently. Just practice more, you know?
I mean, it's the same thing for that.
Sounds like it's a hard balance.
It's the same thing for any kind of gig, though, you know, and that extends to musicians and DJs as well, not just producers.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, man. We're going to go ahead and bring on our guest and see what he thinks about that take. Runners Club 95 has been around since, I believe, 2017. I could be wrong. Maybe they've been around a little longer. I, at this point, expect to be corrected. But duo Carl and Maria Carlson are much beloved by many of the people who have met them IRL or have just enjoyed their work, whether it be their kind of classic Vapor stuff or their kind of more I guess pop sensibility type original compositions. You know, it's all good material, and they're delightful people. And they actually recently performed at Flamingo Fest last November in LA to much acclaim. So unfortunately, Maria will not be joining us tonight. She's busy, but of course we very much appreciate and adore her and her work. Mr. Carl Carlson is here, and we are very excited to have him on. And why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself, brother? Welcome to Hot Takes.
Thank you for having me.
Hey.
Oh, man.
Hey, how are you guys?
It's been a long time coming, and we love to reach out to our friends and our family in other countries. You were very close to the top of our list of people that we wanted to invite on the show that were not Americans. You know, like there's plenty of talent outside of this country.
There's so much talent. It's always a matter of like, how do we line up our time schedule so we don't torture them?
It is.
Like I don't know what time we had Donor Lens on, but I think it was like 1 in the morning.
Yeah, I think they stayed up till about 2 a.m. The poor guys.
They were up till like 3 a.m.
Yeah. Well, Carl, what do you think about Skelly's admonishment about balancing promotion and creation of your art?
I mean, I just agree with everything. It was like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't the hot take supposed to be something that is a bit controversial?
generally.
Been doing
But this
for a
is our
long time.
72nd episode. The
To me,
rivers
that's-
are running
what,
dry.
What's controversial is that
Yeah, yeah,
you
makes
know what the
sense. Yeah.
controversial thing is, I guess, is this that I mean, you know how it gets when you get lost in that loop of like constantly promoting and you forget. So it's
Yeah.
a hot take because people don't want to, maybe well, I know it's not a hot take, I guess, but it's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
like it's a reminder. It's an
Admonishment. Yeah.
It's an admonishment take.
But yeah,
Like,
I've been in various.
It's a warning. It's
Some
a
of y'all
warning that you're
promote
entering
too
hot
much.
territory.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Well, what do
I've
you
been
think?
in various like pop music forums where if you say like 2 years ago, if you said something like, "Just don't do TikTok,
Yeah.
don't do it. Just focus on making your art." It's like, no, you gotta do TikTok. TikTok is the most important thing right now. Like, chill.
Yeah.
I totally agree that it all
I-
comes down just to the music, and then
Yeah.
there's world building around that.
Yeah. I'm not
I
telling
think a
people to
lot
not
of
do the
artists
world
have
thing,
actually
right?
not really embraced TikTok. I mean, Christ uses it.
I think they should. I think that they should go and promote. But my thing was, look, there's no way around it. I mean, you know more than anybody how much you have to do on your own to get yourself out there. I mean, I know how much you guys have done to get yourself out there and how much work you guys have put into that and how it's paid off. But I also know how consistent you guys are with getting the music out. You know what I mean? So, like, no, you disagree. See, we're always hardest on ourselves. But as an outside observer, I've seen you. I mean, you guys are pretty consistent. But you know how it goes, where you're like, okay, well, I did the music, but if I don't reach out and use TikTok, if I don't reach out and form connections with people, no one's going to hear it. It doesn't matter how good it is. So I'm just telling people that there's no way around it. You have to do it. And in today's world, for at least the last 10 or 15 years, this is what artists have had to do. You have to be your own cottage industry. So it's just that you've got to do both. And I just think a good like just the discipline of being like, oh, okay, I'm going to promote a little bit, but I know I spent a lot of time promoting today. I'm going to spend at least a little time working on that one song I'm tweaking. It doesn't have to get done, but every day you should balance it, right? As much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, even like do more music than promoting, a lot more music than promoting.
Wow.
Oh, for sure. I thought that was too much responsibility to put on people.
Well, not
Yeah.
everybody
Wait, with
has
the
like a
music
bunch of
first?
free
Oh,
time,
no,
but
man.
I
Now
know
that's a hot take.
Lux and I saw Kenny G live maybe a month or two ago, and he said he practices 4 hours every day.
Here's
Then
the
again,
thing.
we don't have that kind of free time, probably.
No, but one thing that I usually tend to forget is that conditions are going to vary depending on where you live. So I usually talk from my perspective of living in Sweden and then forget that, you're like living in America, the conditions that you might be facing are totally different. And I tend to forget that. So I was like, well, you just gotta work a bit less and get yourself the time. And for some people, that's not possible.
Yeah,
Do you
I
feel like you have more freedom in Sweden to work a little less and spend more time on music? You know what? Also, I've seen. I'm gonna interrupt for 1 second. I know you're able to do this because I've watched your Instagram stories where you talked about how you parse out your money and how you put it into different things and you keep. So like you're really good at like being like, I'll work a little less, but I've planned for it. I think that if people want to work a little less, they should approach life and money the way that you appear to.
Oh yeah, so that was like really the okay, so that was the trade-off for me, to be able to work less so I could spend more time just making music without having like the profit to sustain myself full-time from music. I had to become super financial savvy, like make budgets, be very like, okay, this much money needs to go here, know all my bills, my living costs, and
that's wise.
Like really work on getting my expenses down to the bare minimum and be very like, okay, 10% of what I make in a month can go to clothing, not more. Stuff like that.
Yeah, that was very impressive. I don't if you do if people do what you have done, I think that it doesn't matter what country you live in. If you take a look at the inventory of your life, the way that you have done it, I think that most people could probably operate the way that you do. You know what I mean? I just think that people don't often do that.
But then again, like costs of health insurance in America versus in Sweden.
Yeah,
We
that's
have
true.
stuff like that, so it's gonna be different.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
different. But
Cost of living, you know.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
granted.
Wow.
I mean,
Speaking of music,
after we play econ, when we came home, like the first half year after that, we was like watching a bit on YouTube about people showing their New York City flats, and they showed us the prices for like, okay, so this flat was this much, and we were like, what is that number for? Is that like, it can't be to buy it. Is it the yearly rent? And it was like, because the number was so. It was so in between for us. It was way too much for rent, but way too low. It turns out it
Yeah.
was rent, but the rent like
Well, that's also New York
Crazy.
City, Carl. That's the most expensive city in the entire country, but you're not wrong.
mm.
no, you're not wrong at all.
I mean, like a flat in Brooklyn was like 4 times the price of an equal flat in central Stockholm a month.
Wow. No way.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I would suggest to people who want to be close to New York, come live in Philadelphia, like I do.
Mhm.
It's cheaper here, and it's about an hour and 45 minutes away from New York.
And for people wanting to go and live in Stockholm, come to Eskilstuna. It's about 1 hour away from Stockholm.
Nice.
We're
Nice.
making this the Nashville of Sweden.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
The Nashville. Oh, you guys, the Nashville of Sweden.
The Nashville
You
of
heard it here
Sweden.
first, guys. Come on before it blows up.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. So speaking of music and speaking of being, can I ask you, do you guys have very strong pop sensibilities? Sweden is actually very much known for its pop sensibilities. It's kind
yeah.
of been known
So
like
many
that for
famous
years.
producers are from Sweden.
Oh my! So many famous songwriters too from Sweden. Let me just ask you, what were you listening to when you were growing up? What was your first experience with music as a child that really stuck out in your head?
Just to make full circle that, it was the Max Martin stuff. Absolutely, all the SHIRO stuff. My
Really?
first CDs were the Backstreet Boys stuff.
Nice.
Oh, interesting.
We were talking about like 1997, 98. That's when I really started to be aware of pop culture and get into music. And I was really into all the Backstreet Boys. Do you know Five? I think
Yes.
they were yeah, but they were like British, kind of big here. I don't think they ever made it in the US.
They were managed by Simon Cowell, I think. Or were they? Maybe I'm thinking
What?
of-
Really? Hmm.
No, they were.
They were.
Simon Cowell had a whole bunch. No, I think they were. I've looked into this a few times, just because I find the pop industry very fascinating, particularly in the mid '90s and late '90s. Just like that whole the whole boom of that is just very interesting. The whole
Yeah.
concept of like just really perfecting pop song writing is it's such an interesting thing to me. You know what I mean? So, but that's why I wanted to ask you a little bit more about this, because I know in America, pop is very, very important to us. We consume a lot of it. But in Sweden, it's just really deeply ingrained into the culture. And like, and you guys know, and you guys, I imagine that you guys are aware that your country is known for writing a lot of it and being very good at it. So like, I just want to know what that's like, kind of growing up in that culture of understanding about how pop, because pop is a very important export from Sweden. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I think
the same
Swedes
way guns are a very important export from America. We have guns. You guys have pop music. So
Oh my
so-
God.
So you started. So like, I just don't think there's any way not to connect.
And
with
in
that.
between the two, the people that wrote Cotton Eye Joe are from Sweden.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
aware. I know that they're still around.
Yeah. Rednecks, big
Yep.
thing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure many Swedes know today that they are Swedes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hilarious.
what? So you initially. So can we just? I want to get back to. So how old were you when you started becoming aware of pop music and you started connecting with it?
About eight.
And about
Oh.
8.
I was born in 1989, so 97 I would have been 8.
Yeah.
Nice.
What were your parents listening to? Were they playing music around the house?
My parents were, they weren't like cultural in that way, so get a lot of music from my parents. My mom would listen to stuff that. Do you know Eurovision Song Contest?
Of course, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So
Huge deal.
the sort of music that went to the Swedish finals, because we have like in Sweden it's a big thing. We have in the 90s it was just like one night and we had like 10 songs and people got to call in and vote on the best one, and the best one was the one that we sent off to Eurovision Song Contest. Now it's like a full 6-week thing with semi-final.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
like
you kind of coming of age and being a young child being a child during that 90s period when there was another big boom of Swedish songwriters and Swedish music being songwriters and their music being exported to international artists, you know what I mean, and been writing, like that's just an interesting time to grow up during. And I can't imagine it didn't affect almost everybody who grew up around your time, because like you go ahead.
I don't know really. I'm sure most songwriters are very proud of the Swedish heritage.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
But as a kid, you didn't really get it. It was like, Backstreet Boys was my idols, and it was like, oh yeah, they're in Stockholm. You didn't really get the bigness of that as a kid. It was just like a cool thing, like, oh, they work with a Swedish songwriter.
So you weren't aware of just how impactful. Well, you were too young probably to be aware of how impactful it was.
Yeah,
But what? So the first. But that's what you were connecting with at 7 and 8. Now, where did you go from there musically? When did you? What were you listening to after that?
Okay, so I was really into boy bands, like that thing, up until maybe the age of 11.
Yeah.
And then I had a short period where I listened to a lot of Marilyn Manson and Eminem. Eminem's first record and the Marilyn Manson record with I Don't Like the Drugs, but the Drugs Like Me and Rock is...
Mechanical Animals.
Yeah, great album.
So that's an interesting album. Okay, well that's interesting album to be listening. Oh yeah, because I know for me the Marilyn Manson album I listened to a lot was Antichrist Superstar, which was the one right before that. But Mechanical Animals is an interesting one. Was that the first Marilyn Manson album you listened to?
The thing is that my parents they weren't agreeing on the Marilyn Manson thing. I went to my local CD store and I picked up this CD and it had all the songs I knew.
Yeah.
I went home. They said you cannot listen to this. There was something they were afraid that I would go bananas. The classic. So
Parents are all the same all over the world.
And never return.
I think it was like a week away from like Christmas holiday. So
you're also 12 years old too. That's a controversial album to get at 12.
I don't know. It wasn't like on we had a show in Sweden called Vox Pop, which was kind of like top of the pops in Britain. Anyway, Marilyn Manson was on Vox Pop, and I reckon.
Oh wow.
Yeah, an artist being on Vox Pop can't be that bad, It wasn't like Cannibal Corpse like that.
So, Cannibal Corpse.
No, so I got to. They said you cannot listen to this record for another 4 days before you go on your Christmas holiday, because if they figured that by the time I get back to school, I would have forgotten about this.
Oh, how funny! They played the long con.
You don't tell someone they can't do something and think that that's going to work.
Yeah.
This is going to make it more attractive.
I listened to the record, and it's a live album.
Oh no!
I bought the wrong album. I didn't know what album I was looking for. I just knew the songs.
Hot take, man! I hate live albums.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's I only had the live album. I think it's called Last Word or something like that.
Yeah.
So he had some of the songs from Antichrist Superstar as well.
Okay, all right. So you got a taste of everything. So you were listening. I'm sorry. What was the other artist you mentioned? Is Marilyn Manson and Eminem?
Like the first two records.
All right. So what did that do to your sensibilities afterwards? What did you feel pretty influenced by those? Those are two pretty rebellious artists that you kind of picked up.
I was going to say that was like a short phase, because then like just a year after that, I discovered Daft Punk.
Nice.
That's that it's about around the time they do One More Time and Digital
Yeah.
Love. I love the anime music videos.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that really steered me into like electronic music. So it was first Daft Punk. Do you
I
remember
find
that?
it so ironic, or I guess poetic, that they title that album Discovery,
Mm.
because what the fuck, man? Like, you put that album and
Really
it literally is its title. Like, they just knew that people would hear this and it would open them up to so much other
launched a
ways of
1,000
interpreting
electronic
music.
music fans.
Well, I
Isn't it?
mean, not it. What it did, what it really did, was it it took the people with rock sensibilities or pop sensibilities, and then said, "Here's dance music,"
Yeah,
and then it
yeah,
then created a conduit that has never been broken since. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's literally
That's
discovery.
true.
It's no, I can't. The amount of electronic artists and dance music artists that have been writing and producing music prior to them, and they never even knew how to write music that would connect with rock sensibilities. And I don't even know what they did exactly, but like, I don't know how they figured it out, but it worked. It was complete discovery for
Mm.
people with rock and pop sensibilities to discover dance music. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, I just don't know. They must have known what they were doing, because they titled it Discovery. They must have known what they were doing. They had some secret recipe in mind, and they did it. I mean, the first album too, Homework, is. I mean, I remember discovering that and hearing that song, The Funk, and being like, oh my god, like, this is like, I'm jamming to this. Is this? And I was like, is this what dance music is like? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to go now. I have to understand more about this.
Uh,
And that was called Homework. And it made me want to do my homework on dance music. You know what I mean? Like, they knew exactly what they were doing. They're brilliant. But
yeah,
so once you listen to Discovery, you're like, oh my god, like, I didn't even, is this what dance? You know? And then, like, you start to realize how special they are because you see the music videos, and then you
yeah.
realize that Daft Punk is not just dance music; it's high art. Like, there's so much thought put into all the culture surrounding the music. Like, they took so many risks, and you have to be so confident in the primary product of what you're creating, which is the music, to create music videos around it that are so strange and experimental. So you
World.
listen to this, yeah, man, so cool. So you're listening to Discovery. What did that? So now, okay, this is interesting. So now you grew up with pop music sensibilities, sort of, I don't know, just sort of ingrained into you just through diffusion almost, you know, because you're in Sweden, and then from there you kind of understand rebellion because you're listening to Marilyn Manson and Eminem. So now you kind of, now that's gonna, so the first stuff is putting the seeds of pop music
Yes,
writing
yes,
inside
yes,
you. The second phase is putting the seeds of, I think I will go against the grain. There's no two more prominent artists in the 90s that represented rebellion than Marilyn Manson and Eminem. So now you've got that in you. And now we're getting to Discovery, which is now you're going to start thinking about electronic music.
yeah, yeah.
What happens next? What do you
Uh,
listen to next? What does Daft Punk lead to?
okay, so that like Daft Punk was the first step towards trance music. So,
Oh,
Ooh.
like when I was in the 5th grade, so I'm 12. I
also,
I
you got a lot of education. Even by the 5th grade, you're getting a lot of education.
True.
I don't know, but I was like super into trance music, and I listened to nothing but trance music until I was like 17.
Trance had a little explosion, I feel like, in the late 90s. I don't know if you guys have, like, the skating rinks
Yeah.
that we have here. The DJ would play hella trance and, like, rave
Yeah, they
music.
did.
In the late 90s, it was very much like a thing for a minute there.
I think even in the early 2000s, like 2000,
Oh, yes.
2001, 2, trance was that was one of like the 3 main dance genres at the time.
Absolutely.
Definitely had an explosion when I came into it. Do you know the song "Castles in the Sky"? Of course you do. It's been way
Tell me
way-
why.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
classic.
exactly. So that's where I entered the more pop side of trance music, and then go, further. So I was kind of deep into the very Dutch hard trance stuff for a couple of years.
Ooh,
there.
okay.
Nice.
Yeah, not so much psychedelic trance. I was more into like the melodic things.
Yep. It was very, like, melodramatic music, like very strong hooks, very, like, almost ham-fisted, like, emotional melodies.
Well, EDM in general is always very melodramatic because EDM is, because particularly when they put lyrics behind EDM music, you have to understand that the music itself at its very nature is electronic. Therefore, it's cold. So when you're producing music, you're trying to infuse humanity into it. So you have to overdo the feelings. You know what I mean? So if you
Good
ever
point.
read some of
That's
the
an
lyrics,
interesting perspective.
oh,
Good point.
mean, so go stop and like read some of the lyrics for like, I don't know, just pick like a popular like artist, I don't know, like Swedish House Mafia or something like that, and read like the lyrics that the singers are singing over their music. It is all feelings. There is not even much logic. If you actually read the sentences, they don't even really make much sense. But you feel what is being said. You feel what the artist is saying because you have to particularly with those bigger electronic artists, EDM artists, because they're performing to the back of the crowd, and the back of the crowd can be thousands of people. So you, just like an actor, when they're performing in a theater, has to overdo their emotions and their hand gestures. The lyrics have to be very, very feelings based and very little logic. You're not telling stories. This isn't like an emo band, you know, playing in a basement. You have to tell feelings, and that means you have to write lyrics that kind of, when you read them on their own, don't really make sense, but you feel it. That's the whole point. Actually, I think that's the best way to write electronic music lyrics, is to stay away from as much logic as possible and just say things that make you feel things.
I'm trying to figure
Anyway,
out
so why, what's the
A little
point of
mind-altering
castles in the
substance
sky? Tell
or
me, why
two
do we
never
build
hurt.
castles in the sky? That doesn't even make fucking sense.
Oh, Donor Lynch just said it. a little
That
Molly and
doesn't even,
ecstasy
that
never hurt.
sentence
I
doesn't
don't
even
think
make sense, and it shouldn't make sense. You should just feel it. I hate sense. Logic is so stupid. The logic is saved for actually programming and playing with the synths and thinking about the filters and thinking about the equal and the compression. That's where you use the logic. But you're trying to use the logic to get away from it with electronic music. You want to get away from. You want people to feel things. Anyway,
I think
Okay,
I
so-
think I gravitate towards that sort of lyrics because I have been out of the loop with writing lyrics for some time. I'm trying to get back into it, and I'm trying to find out what sort of lyrics I like, so I can start writing that sort of lyric. And
It's hard.
But you gotta just. That's the thing. You just gotta like go through songs that you like and see, you know, what lyrics does, you know, makes you feel something,
Yeah.
and then see what are they doing. And I feel like for me, I tend to gravitate towards more the very abstract,
Yeah.
weird ones.
Yeah.
So there's a song
Yeah.
by Caroline Polachek called Billions that is like,
Love Caroline Polachek. She writes
yeah,
outstanding lyrics.
I need to listen to
she's
more of her
lyrics.
work.
yeah,
She writes
right
outstanding
now,
lyrics.
I think she's
un-
the best artist in the world right now.
Oh my God. I think it's the song. There's one song I listen to all the time, Unkissed and Sunburned and Unkissed. I think that's what the name of the song is.
A new one.
Yeah, Unkissed and Sunburned. I think Sunburned and Unkissed. I can't remember, but I love the lyrics for that song in particular. But yeah, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have
Uh,
to make just like words that make you feel something, like you say. And I think for me, that resonates more with me than say someone that is writing a very literal story, say
Right. Like a ballad.
there's nothing wrong with that, but
very like autobiography, a story. For me, when it's more like a bit vague, do you say vague? Vague?
I like
Vague.
vague.
Vague. No, I know what you mean. Like, there's this one
I like
Slow
saying
Dive
Vaughn
song
better.
where
I like
all
when
they
you
do is
pronounce it
say
better.
"crazy for you" or "crazy for love" over and over. That's like all they say the entire song.
Yeah.
Like a distillation of an emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's oh man, I wanted to say something and I just lost it. But I know what I want to say. Well, I liked what you just said there a few minutes ago when you said that I need to go through the songs I like where people are writing lyrics I like and digest that. That is a big that was going to be my other hot take today, actually. That was going to be my original hot take, is that I don't like this culture of this YouTube tutorial culture. I hate it. So I got into photography recently, right? I like photography. It's a fun thing I've been getting into. And the way that I approach photography is the same way I approach producing music, where I listen to a lot of what I like and I think about it a lot. And then I start making music just to feel my way through it, and then I go back and listen to it again. And then if I get really stuck in a particular thing, then I'll look up a tutorial. But I'm not going to start with that. It's going to be hours before
Oh
I even
yeah,
get
it's
to
the
that.
same with playing JRPGs. You try to beat
So
the
what
boss
I
on your own
noticed with a lot
first.
of YouTube, what I noticed with a lot of Instagram photographers is like nobody's going and looking up Helmut Newton's photographs. Nobody's going and looking at Kishin Shiniyama or like figuring out what kind of photographer they like. They're going on, they look on YouTube and they say they type in best way to get lighting, and they just look up a 15-minute video on how to do it. And this culture of this YouTube tutorial culture is making bland garbage. Stop looking up how to do things perfectly, and you're all watching the same fucking videos. When you're gonna produce music too, don't go on YouTube and look up how to write perfect lyrics. Go and do what Carl just said and take the time to figure out to die. You can't be an artist if you don't consume art. And this is what my hot take was gonna be. I'm so fucking sick of YouTube tutorials. Stop using YouTube tutorials. Get the fuck off the internet. Or get on the streaming service, I guess, and listen.
Okay.
Or do what I did. Like when I decided I wanted to start doing photography, I went and I went in Vanity Fair and Vogue, and I looked up who was doing these photo shoots that looked so dramatic and interesting, and I got the names of these photographers. And then I went to like used bookstores and I looked to find the photo books so I could have them and I could go and stare at them for a while and look at why I like them. These people on Instagram aren't doing that. They don't know the name of one fucking photographer. They know the name of the YouTube channel that tells them how to do the best soft fucking lighting.
Son.
Fuck yourself, YouTube tutorials. We need to get away from this.
So
shit.
emulating
Make
some of your
everybody
favorite
bland.
artists is a good thing.
So, but Carl, this is what Carl was just saying. He goes and he wants to write lyrics. He's not going to go look up the YouTube tutorial on how to write emotional lyrics, and I guarantee you that exists.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
He's gonna go listen to the artists that connect with him, and he's gonna study it. He's gonna think about it, and then he's gonna add to it. Yeah,
So
I'm not speaking for you. I'm not trying to speak for you. Sorry.
To find some middle ground, I do agree with you to some extent that maybe.
Is that a hotter take? Because you were criticizing my last hot take. Is that better?
There's a song on
Oh
our
my
last
God.
album, Doing Me, where you can listen more to my opinions about influencer and YouTube culture. But I was going to say, what I did recently was that I decided to, because I read a book. I read 2 books recently, and I don't remember which one of them that said this one. Those books were kind of similar. It's one called Essentialism. Basically a take on minimalism, and it's a book about essentialism, which is that you shouldn't do anything apart from the essential things. And you need to
minimalism, kind of.
Yeah, and you need to figure out what is essential for you, and to do that, you need to figure out what your goals are, who you are, and when you do that, you can figure out like, okay, to reach those goals, what are the essential things, and I should do only these things and nothing else.
Wow.
And I also read the book called Atomic Habits. I think that was the one with. Atomic Habits was the one that said the thing that I'm going to say now. Hang on, I need to just remember it. It's to become. Oh wait, to get a certain output, you need to become the kind of person that gets that sort of output or result. To get a certain sort of result. So the example in the book was that instead of like saying I'm going to run a marathon, instead of saying that, you should aim to become a runner.
Ooh, hot takes moment.
Like that. That's good. Oh wow, that's really
Damn,
interesting.
son.
And then, okay, what does a runner do? A runner runs, and by doing so, by getting into the habit of running, in the end, you are going to succeed with your goal of running a marathon.
Okay, so you're breaking it down into the like workable part of that goal.
Yeah, so instead of
The
like
essential
saying,
part.
"This is my goal, I want to do this goal," you become the sort of person that reaches that goal.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I like that.
I like that a lot.
So what I did then, I was
It's
like, okay,
so simple but so profound.
yeah. So what I did then was, I picked like 5 music producers and artists that I was like, these 5 persons are making the sort of music or are like in the sort of scene that I, work towards getting to.
Can we ask if you would name a few of those
Oh
artists?
yeah, please do.
I can name all of them. I can say
Could
it's
you?
Karol Polacek, it's Muramasa, it's
Wow.
Danny L. and Two Shell.
Oh, I love Two Shell.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar.
big fan. And George Daniel.
Oh,
the
they're good
producer.
picks.
Yeah. So these were the 5 people that I decided, like, I'm gonna study these 5 people, and I'm gonna stop taking advice from anyone else. These are the 5 people I will take advice from. These are the 5 people I will study. So I made myself like a point of reading and watching and listening to everything they had to say. And then I took some notes and I made myself a list. Like, I compounded their advice down to a list of key points that they all were stressing about how to approach music.
Ooh.
Wow. This is great.
This is
good
some
stuff.
really
This is
meaty
good advice
stuff,
to people
y'all.
right now.
Yeah, definitely
Good advice.
helpful to
Things that
producers.
were saying, because I asked whenever there was ask me anything or something like that with any of them, my default question would be, what are some YouTube channels you watch for music production?
That's great, but you're getting the ones they watch.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
rather than
most
just
of
doing
them were like,
that's a good middle ground. Like
That's
you're
one
saying.
thing that I do for crate digging, not to make it about me, but like I like to listen to what my favorite artists listen to.
yeah.
Sort of
Exactly.
similar. Like I think that's the greatest way to find that real
Yeah.
source material.
That is the great middle ground between just going into it blindly and just if someone if there's an artist you respect who this is something that they look at, then yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Study
It's
your
interesting.
heroes. Study your heroes' heroes.
Wise.
Yep.
So that's what I did. But most of them on the question, what YouTube channels do you watch, said, I don't watch YouTube anymore.
I was
just
kind of
spend-"
expecting that.
I don't
so
watch it
the
anymore.
general advice was, your time is better spent just fucking around in the studio.
Yeah,
Wow.
and listen, I didn't say people shouldn't use YouTube. I said that the way I do it is I get stuck on a very specific thing, then I'll look up but people just go right to it. You know what I mean? They pick up, they buy the thing, and then they once they have the thing, rather than start working with the thing, they go on YouTube and ask YouTube how to use the thing.
Yeah.
So use the thing first, and then if you get to a part where like, and if you're like, oh, I don't know how I do this one specific thing, you know what I mean? Then you can. I'm not saying people don't use technology, and the same way I wasn't saying don't promote, right? But I love the fact that they said your time is better spent fucking around.
No. So
okay, I gotta get back to the original thing that I wanted to ask you. So now we're at a point where you're 17 years old, and you're about to what made you want to branch out from listening to just trance music?
okay, so at the age about 16, 17, I made a total flip. I stopped listening to trance music completely. And
Why?
At this point, I'm in music school.
Very cool.
Everyone in music school was in a band.
Oh.
There were no solo like synthesizer only producers at that time.
like,
Not a lot.
People like with a computer making trance music. That wasn't really what was happening at my music school. So, so you played in a band. Emo was a big thing. That whole scene was very big at that time. Hardcore.
Hardcore. Sweden actually has a pretty good hardcore scene.
I wouldn't know much about it. I know some.
Well, I mean,
bands.
that's where Refused is from.
Yeah,
well, I was about to say, like, yeah, I was literally about to say that. Refused.
But we had a pretty good local music, like hardcore music scene in my town. But I went full on to Swedish indie pop, like Swedish lyrics indie pop.
Peter Bjorn and John.
What?
Peter Bjorn and John.
They were absolutely in that genre. But I was massively into an artist called Håkan Hellström, which is kind of, I dare to say he's Sweden's Bob Dylan, Morrissey, and
oh wow,
oh wow, I got
yeah.
Oh, Luke Lee is from Sweden too.
Like he started off as like Sweden's Morrissey, and then he became Sweden's Bob Dylan, and now he's more in a Bruce Springsteen era. But that sort of thing. I'm not sure if there's any of the artists that I listened to that made it outside of Sweden. Cardigans,
Oh, the
maybe.
Cardigans.
Well,
Oh yeah. Well,
so
yeah. I mean, they're
there's the one.
go
There's
ahead.
that one pop singer. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Lutke Lee. She's
Yeah,
from
Oh,
Sweden. I think that's how you pronounce
yeah,
her name. I'm just putting it in chat. She got kind of
yeah,
big.
she was
yeah.
pretty
She was
big in the
big.
2000s.
Yeah.
That was that wasn't really the sort of thing I was into. I think Bjorn from Peter, Bjorn and John produced her stuff.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But that sort of thing. I was really into that for many, many years, and now I'm back at trance music.
Oh,
Funny how it comes full circle.
Yeah, yeah.
so you okay. So all right, hold on. So now, damn it. All right. So basically, you went at what point do you start? So now you've been making music for a while. What point do you start discovering vaporwave?
I think that I think that was in. Let me see. So it must have been in the summer of 2015.
Oh,
I
too cool.
I was making my indie pop music, trying to do that sort of thing. Was in a massive writer's block period, sort of. I was procrastinating, walking around in Stockholm, into clothing stores and stuff like that,
Okay.
and picked up this like free music magazine called Gaffa. They had an article called something in the style of 100 genres you never heard of before.
Ooh,
Oh,
fun.
Yeah.
interest. That's how you heard about it.
Yeah, so to spark some inspiration, I took that magazine home and I Googled every single genre and just listened to the first few hits on YouTube on
Oh,
that
that's
genre.
awesome.
Yeah, and Vaporwave was the
I love
one
doing that.
that resonated with me. So I started to get into that, listening to. Back then, it was really big to do those YouTube mixes, like 2 hour long mixes with just random artists.
Okay.
So I started listening to that a lot, and the whole just like culture around it and the scene. It's not just the music, but the music together with like all the artwork and the mystery around the scene.
Uh-huh. It's very
That
immersive.
what?
It's very immersive. Like there's
Yeah,
multiple components to it. It's not just the sound.
yeah. And I like that when a genre is more than a sound. It's like it's a scene. It's like
It's a culture.
it's a culture. Yeah. So, and then I started to watch all the YouTube tutorials,
Ooh,
the Frank Jatsky
Frank
stuff.
Jeff sees how to make
Frank Joe,
vaporwave.
Frank John C.
You heard it
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Hot Takes.
That's the one YouTube tutorial you guys are allowed to watch.
Yeah.
You guys can still watch Frank.
It's funny because his tutorials, like,
But
they
it's funny.
were in. Yeah, it was
They're
like
ironic.
he is joking,
Yeah.
but it's informative still. So can I use this as useful advice when making this music, or he's just trolling me? I don't know.
That's why I love
That's
it.
why it's so effective.
That's why it's so effective.
Why it has staying power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
But I was super
So-
into Wave for like the entire 2016. I was super into it, and then we
Nice.
started making songs, and Maria wanted to join the project, and
I love
we
it.
did it. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I think we put out the first album in February 2017.
it really connected with
Panama
people.
Papers.
Panama Papers really connected with people. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
I remember when that came out too, and a lot of people have been waiting for this kind of sound. You know, we love vaporwave, but I had been waiting for it. I've been waiting for that kind of sound. I've been waiting for the sort of we have a lot of people that do live music versions of vaporwave, and but I think that there was a pop sensibility that was sort of really coming through in the music that you guys made on that album, and I think that had a lot, and I don't think that there were as many people doing that at the time, or not as successfully at least. And I think that the album became very beloved by people who found it. You know what I mean? And they passed it on to other people. Because how much promotion did you guys really do for it?
We didn't do much promotion at all. The thing that helped a lot was releasing with the label.
Oh yeah.
So that's one thing. Like most of the promotion we got from first putting out the cassette on Pool House Limited,
Yeah.
and then later on when My Pet Flamingo put out the vinyl, because both those labels had like a following.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Those are very good labels. They do have a good following, and they're very helpful.
I did was day one when we put out the album, I went on Spotify and just searched for Wake Wake playlist, and I tried to hit up every single playlist creator I could find on Facebook and be like, oh, we just put out this album. If you enjoy it, put it on your like playlist. So we managed to get a lot of playlists early on by doing that, and I feel like that was kind of before that sort of pitching to private playlist creator became a thing, because
you kind of were at the very beginning of that. Yeah,
you got in early. You got in on the ground floor, brother.
No one was asking me for like money to do it, or sent me off to some other service where they accepted pitches for $5 or something. No one did that back then. Everyone was just
no.
Yeah.
But then 3 years later, when we did No Sugar Added, that whole thing had just
all over.
Completely.
It's crazy. You know what? Yeah. It's so crazy. Like the minute there's an opportunity for something, it's like you have a small window to capitalize on it. This is like, I remember I started making music.
Lightning in a bottle,
but I started making music. Blogs were a thing. You had a small minute to capitalize on being able to send to blogs, and then you could when I started in the 2010 early 2010s, it was great because you could pitch to all these blogs, and it was wonderful because you would have people who would they would promote you. They would write about you, and now you had copy that you could put into your EPK, and like, oh wow, it's so cool to have these people take the time to write nice things about you, and then blogs disappeared. And then like,
I miss them.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just said I missed the
blogs. And then there was like an opportunity for there was this opportunity where you could pitch to playlist curators, and then now all of a sudden that got monetized. Like it's just like it's so hard to be there at the right time when there's an opportunity, and you guys definitely were, and it's great because it's and you had a good product to pitch as well, and it's wonderful that you got that opportunity to do that, and then we have the opportunity to enjoy Runners Club on a bigger scale now. You know what I mean? And do you know what else helped you guys a lot? And I will say this was that performance you did on Pat Chennington's block party when you did the live performance.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge. Like, I don't know, you guys nailed the aesthetic. Like the color palette for the way you guys filmed that was outstanding. I don't know how much work you put into that or how much thought you put into it. You must have put a lot. I can't imagine you didn't. You guys really were aware of how you wanted it to look. And the presentation of that live performance, no one forgot that. That was the toast of the night. That's the thing I think people remember that most of all from that. And guess what? You got in early on the live streams because that was one of the first live streams once quarantine started.
That's a good point.
Right? That was one of the first live streams once quarantine. Yeah, I remember because I performed at that too, and that was one of the first live streams that happened, and I did my little thing on that too. And after I did that, that's when Needle Juice approached me to release Glows That Melts on vinyl. And that was a great opportunity. Everyone like that, and then all of a sudden after that one, it was like a million live streams, right? And so, you know what I mean? Like you get these. It's so funny when you have these opportunities, and like you gotta get there really early because in a couple months it's gonna be saturated, and then now like all the. But like so like that Pat Jenkins block party was a really important live stream, and I think it helped a lot of people, myself included, and definitely you guys came with fucking cannons loaded for that shit. Like you guys came in. I don't know how you did those camera cuts, the color palette. It was sunny, it was warm. You guys were like the aesthetics, like it was consistent. So I think a lot of people saw that and were like, oh, this band doesn't fuck around. these guys don't fuck around.
I mean, it's very nice that you say that and all. From my end, it was all like purely amateurish, and we were like, how the fuck do we pull it off? How do we do this? We have no idea. how
Really?
like
It looks so clean. I had no idea.
Unreal.
it was definitely
Unreal.
not something that was like thought out or like something we knew was like
You guys have
we
the
just
sunglasses on.
Right.
Yes,
Like badass
The
cool
bucket
Swedish
hat.
people with the sunglasses. Sun-kissed Swedish people with the glad sunglasses on.
Yeah.
You guys were really like, oh my god, we don't know what we're doing.
we were just like, okay, we have no idea how to perform these songs live. We have no idea how to record it. And I had some very basic skills in Adobe Premiere Pro,
Yeah.
like super basic. Because I used to play around with it a little when I was a kid. So we were just like, okay, let's put out some. I think we had Maria's cussing with one moving camera, and then we had like a couple of like just iPhones on like music
Oh.
stands.
That's
Wow.
cool though.
Wow.
So that was it's 100% iPhones, at least.
Wow.
But no, I mean we just felt like, and it's been the same thing like with Panama Papers and everything we ever put out, like everything I ever done musically is just like trying to make the sort of music I enjoy, feeling like I'm failing at it, like okay, this isn't as good as I want it to be, and then put it out. And when you see that at some like when it works, like when people be like, oh, I like this song, this was good, like
How did that happen?
I don't
and
know.
listen to it. Like,
Why is there balloons?
There was
I
balloons
don't know.
behind you for a moment.
okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is that huge imposter syndrome, like whenever oh, your stuff sounds good.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I have no idea what I did. Like to me, I guess it's like being a magician. If I would do some crazy ass shit, magic trick on you, and you'd be like, "Oh, I don't know how you did that," and I'm here knowing exactly how I did that. It's like, to me, it's just.
Well, I think now's a good time as any to go ahead and take a quick intermission. We're gonna
I gotta get
premiere.
my phone charger.
We're gonna premiere Skeleton Lipstick's track from his new album Death Romantique with a music video by Jumper Kimmins. Now, what's the name of the song?
Forever.
Forever. So everybody, check out this new music video from Skeleton Lipstick's new album Death Romantique called Forever.
One quick thing. The tapes are sold out, but you can still listen to it.
Yeah,
On
shout
Hutchins
out.
Bandcamp, and I didn't realize they're going to sell out that fast, so it's going to take a few more weeks before it's on Spotify and streaming services. But we'll be there soon. But for now, go to Hushtones, and the tape is gone, but you can definitely still listen to it there. Thank you, guys.
Hell yeah. So enjoy this video, and we'll be back in about 3-4 minutes. And we're back. That video ended sooner than I thought. But hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. Again, that was Forever from Skeleton Lipstick's new album, Death Romantique, out on Hush Tones. Physicals are sold out, but you'll be able to stream it soon via Spotify and probably various other streaming services as well. We're going to go ahead and start the second half of the podcast in which we invite questions from the chat. If you guys have questions for Carl, go ahead and load them up in the chat. We'll do our very best to get to all of them. I have warned him how off the rails some of these questions can be, but go ahead and let loose, guys, while we wait on anyone and everyone to go ahead and ask you what's on their mind. Let me ask you, how important are reviews, blogs, curators, playlists? How important do you think those are with regards to taste making?
Oh, that depends on whose perspective. I mean, I haven't gone seen the new Joker movie because the reviews are bad.
Oh, yeah.
So, in terms of affecting people's decision whether to, maybe it's more with the movie that actually, it's more of a commitment to go to the cinema and sit through a 2-hour-long movie than to listen to a song.
Right.
But I think reviews absolutely can, if they're really good or if they're really bad, can affect people's willingness to even engage with the art.
Well, and you bring up a valid point. When it's something that's time-consuming, like a film, that it's pretty important that you get an idea of what the general consensus is before you devote all that time, energy, and money. All right, we got some questions already. We've got some fun ones. Ursula's Cartridges. Do you prefer the game Doom or Quake?
Oh, interesting question.
Oh, wait, I need to Google this. I'm not a big gamer.
Oh, no? Well,
Yeah, finally another one.
Skeleton Lipstick is not a gamer either.
I'm the only person that doesn't, and me and Lux, I guess, are the only people that don't play video games. But I do play Doom, and I play Doom and Quake, and I'm going to say Doom over Quake.
I mean, Doom has a bunch of demons in it.
I played Roller Coaster Tycoon as a kid a lot.
Oh, I love that. Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
Dude, you know who else is a huge Roller Coaster Tycoon fan? Is a Pacific Plaza.
Everyone.
He says
really?
Everyone.
Everyone is really good. I did that, and then I started to make, I got a copy of Fruity Loops and stuff like that. So, music programs was my games.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
I'm gonna say Doom.
Yeah, more people, I feel like, are familiar with Doom, for better or for worse.
Little Counter-Strike in my early teens.
Okay.
Some shooter.
Was there one called Unreal Tournament as well?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal Tournament. That was a cool violent game.
Yeah. And a lot of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for PlayStation.
Sounds like you played plenty of video games, sir.
Yeah, I agree. We've got a great question from, I'm going to pick one of your questions, Gun Zero DeMonk.
He's got a lot of them.
And I'll get to your most recent question after I ask some of the backlogged questions. Fool asked 4 questions. Lux, last year you and Maria had the chance to experience Halloween in the United States. What did you get the chance to do, and did it live up to your hopes and dreams?
Yeah, I'm so happy you got to be here for Halloween.
That is actually a childhood dream for me because
what?
I've been,
I remember you talking about this. Yeah,
that's so special.
I remember you talking about this in the group chats. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got really into Halloween in the late 90s, and we did not have that in Sweden. It's just about picking up little now. Like every 10th house, you see one pumpkin on the.
Really? It's not very popular at all.
No. So people know it. There's usually some parties for school kids. They have a disco or something Halloween themed, but the whole decorating and trick or treating isn't very big at all. So it's been a childhood dream for me to celebrate Halloween in America. So I'm so glad that we got to do that last year. We were actually invited by a friend of mine who lives fairly close to Universal Studios on
I
the
was going to
north
ask you if you
side.
went there.
We went to Universal Studios. It
Perfect.
was cool. Uh, but he lives close to it, so he invited us to his neighborhood where apparently lots of the special effects person working at the Universal Studios live, and their yards are super decorated. Like
Oh, wow.
it's an event. So there
Oh,
were
that's
like
so cool.
millions of kids running around that like block, and you could vote for the best yard in an app, stuff like that. It was crazy. It was it absolutely lived up to my expectations. We got a lot of like inspiration, so we took a lot of notes, took a lot of photos. So
Fun.
we're still living in a flat, but eventually we're going to move to a house, and we really have some like plans for Halloween in that house.
Wow.
I love that. I couldn't help but
Yeah, I
notice
think
the
already.
jack-o'-lantern behind you. What looks like a little ghost.
There's some stuff, yeah. Small ghosts, some
Yeah,
small
noticed that earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
I
have
Halloween.
love
some
that.
It's Halloween right now. Yeah. So can I briefly interrupt with a question really quick for Carl
Well, we're
before we go
backlogged
back
by
to?
about 5 questions,
Well, I
but
just
I'll
want to ask.
allow
Well,
it.
I at some point I want to ask him how George reached out to him to play Electronicon.
We did not have any contact with George pre Electronic Con. I met him there. I talked to him after the show. It was Chris.
Oh,
Oh,
Chris
Chris
reached out to
Burden.
you guys.
Wow. Okay.
So Chris was the guy that got us on Electronic Con, and
So he reached out to you. So he reached out to you guys.
yes,
Was that surprising?
yes.
Did you expect? Is that pretty? That's pretty cool. Because must have been like such a validating experience to have been reached out
Like
to.
we had just done our first live show ever in London. We were invited by
Nice.
the Flamingo to play Future. What's
Yeah, I
it
saw
called?
that.
I want to say Future Funk, but it's Future.
I remember the event you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So we played.
Yeah, like the Space Jams guy, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
So
guys.
how did
But we played that, and like just a couple of days after that, Chris hit me up on Instagram, and I thought he had, because I think we live streamed that show, and I thought he had seen that, but he hadn't. He just like not related at all to that show. Thought that
he must have
maybe,
been popular.
yeah. So he just invited us. To
Wow,
come
what a
play.
curator.
For us to go and play in London was a huge deal. Like literally huge. Coming from a small town in Sweden is like huge. Go to, because very few people, like very few bands from Sweden, get to go to London and play, and
Wow.
then just like a few days after we get invited to go and play New York. So
Oh,
that
that's
was like,
too cool.
yeah, that was like crazy. Yeah, huge
Hell yeah.
thing for us.
Donor Lens wants to know: do you prefer Blur or Oasis?
Blur.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to concur. Guns Zero to Monk. What was your first digital audio workstation?
If we're gonna like, my first was a light or demo version of Fruity Loops.
Nice.
Uh,
I feel like a lot of people
and-
start with FL Studio.
yeah, and then I went on to work with Reason. So I've been working in Reason since 2004.
Oh wow.
Oh,
I did a few years. Do you know a program called EJ? It's not really a DAW. It's more like a game. But it's
no.
not between. It's
Oh,
it's
you
like,
gamer.
yeah, so it's like a DAW, but you don't make your own music. It's just like preloaded with loops for a specific genre. So you would buy Dance EJ2, and you have this like sequencer and a bunch of loops, and you sequence out the loops to a song.
Hmm.
I had that before.
Okay.
Work with Fruity Loops and then eventually Reason.
Too cool. Lux has another good question. What was your favorite Electronicon memory and your favorite Flamingo Fest memory?
Same thing with both events. Just meeting all the guys from the scene.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't
I
that
remember-
special?
Yeah, I remember seeing you play at Electronicon too, at Electronicon, and you saw me standing in the front of the stage, and you came over and like shook my hand, like, "Oh, Skeleton Lipstick, thanks for coming
Yeah,
out, man!" In the middle of your song, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
"What a sweet man." Yeah,
Actually, I've been trying to talk to you because we've been in like the same room 2 times. First in New York and then in LA. And I was like, oh, I need to talk to Skeleton Lipstick. Like, and I never get to like actually catch you off stage. So I've been trying. Like when we were in LA, I was like, oh, there he is. I need to go talk to him. And then you were gone. I was like, okay, I'll catch him
Yeah, he was
later.
sleeping in a hotel.
I was tired, man. Next time.
Yeah,
We're talking now. We're talking now.
No,
We can talk.
yeah,
We'll talk.
yeah. So really, just the best things about getting to go to both New York and LA. I mean, playing live is really fun and all, but the best thing is to actually link up IRL with all the people that we come to known online
Yeah.
from the scene. So
It's very
that is
special.
yeah,
Very special stuff. Yeah.
Very meaningful. Quiz with a great question. Wants to know specifically, were you playing Counter-Strike 1.5 or 1.6?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I haven't like Counter-Strike. Hang on. I think I meant Half-Life.
Oh, damn. Isn't Counter-Strike a shooter game and Half-Life is like... Is it a shooter game too? I don't know. It's an adventure game.
I mean,
Never played it.
I never played Counter-Strike at home. I've been to parties where there was like a facility to play multiplayer Counter-Strike as a party thing, and I've done it like once or twice.
Nice. Hydroplane into a false reality wants to know, how do you deal with burnout?
Good question.
You just push.
That is a good question from a
Oh,
runner
yeah.
and from somebody who just talked about creating as much or more than promoting. Burnout is so real.
So I don't know. I kind of just like I feel like I'm always just on the borderline of burnout. I always feel like I'm on the final lap of life. It's like, yeah, I just gotta push a little bit more and I'll be at the goal. And then something happens and like, okay, yeah, I just need to like put in another, what do you say, engine? Like,
Yeah, like a little... Put it in gear or like a little turbo
Yeah,
boost.
Shift into another gear.
Yeah. So it's always like just elevate it one more step to get there, and I'm not even sure what getting there means. But it's like just
Right.
constantly raising the bar. So every now and then, if you're really fatigued, just like take a day. Be nice to yourself, like have a bath, have a nice meal, take a walk in the forest, hang out with a friend. I don't know. I'm not
So
really good at
push yourself until you're like incredibly fatigued and then give yourself a break.
I'm not sure that's good advice, but that's sadly how I do.
I think that's reasonable. I mean,
I think management though, like instead of getting yourself to burnout, try and find ways to be able to do the amount of work you want to do and stay, I don't know, grounded, but try to do it in a sustainable way, even though it's like even though you're performing at a very high level, you need to do it in a sustainable way, which may tie back to the essentialism thing we talked about, but maybe just need to find out like what is the actual most important thing to me, and I'm just going to spend my time doing that. This thing, and this thing are not important to me, so let's drop them. Don't do them.
So outside of music production and your career, and your relationship and your fitness, do you have any other hobbies, or did you essentially do that and kind of take it down to just those essentials?
I would say like my hobby. So fitness for me is really like that's just like brushing my teeth. Something
I got
just
you.
need. Yeah, I like running. That's the fitness part that I do like. Trail running, I enjoy. Going to the gym, that's just like main things. But I picked up Warhammer again.
Ooh, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But that also like everything ties into, because some might know that I have this musical project called Fern, which is like a dance trance project with some UK garage influences.
Fern.
Yeah, and it picks a lot of cue from the gorpcore scene.
Gorpcore. Oh, like people that hike and that are like athletic. Yeah.
So
That's fascinating.
Yeah, so visually I pick a lot of cues from gorpcore, but I also want to bring in like the wood elves element.
The wood elves.
What else?
Yeah, wood elves.
Oh, this is starting to get so cool.
What?
So like a little bit of like fantasy.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of fantasy, but especially like the wood elves. So from Lord of the Rings, you would know Legolas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the wood elves that trapped the hobbits and or the hobbits and the dwarves, and they escaped with the barrels.
Oh yeah, the wood elves aren't nice in that movie, no.
Yeah, well, different type of elves, right?
But anyway, so like I read the lore and all that for the wood elf race in Warhammer Fantasy, and I pick up cues that I can use for my musical project.
Interesting.
So that is one hobby I have. I do not prioritize it over music in any way, and I do go on a lot of hikes too, which again ties into this musical project.
I love that. They kind of all ties together, though. Rose Corp wants to know, how can he be as cool as you?
I'm not cool at all. I'm just like, I don't know. I never feel cool. I'm trying to figure out how to be cool myself. Like, how do I get allowed into the cool club?
Says
if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Do you know how to DJ?
That depends.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I do know how to play songs to people. I do not know.
That's essential.
Yeah, I do not know how to. I mean, nowadays, because when I was into trance when I was a kid, I had like the CDJs, but this was before they had, like, they were actually just CD players with
Yeah, right.
a jog wheel. There was no like beat matching or anything, and I never, became a DJ because I had no skills in.
It was way harder back then.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I guess the reason that I want to know is that was kind of a setup. I want to know if you're the kind of person that refuses to give people track IDs.
No, I would give people track IDs. I would like if I play a song, people are like, I love that song. Yeah.
You strike me as being that kind of person that would put people on.
Yeah.
Y'all
I
keep
like
that.
to be this.
Keep those questions coming. So you like being a tastemaker.
Maybe I like to be right about music, like show people stuff.
Be
I
right.
like that.
I like to be the first one on the ball. Like, no, that sort of thing is whack. But you should listen to these Japanese guys called Peter Parker 69. They're great. And then people are like, I've never heard of them. And we listen to them. And like half a year later, Peter Parker 69 is the biggest thing. And everyone's like, yeah, Peter Parker 69. By that time, I'm over it. It's like, yeah.
He says, I'm over it. It's passe.
Yeah.
Next big thing. You'll know about a year.
Yeah.
Do you do you ever feel like, have you ever felt like you were shoving your music taste down anybody's throat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to do that less now.
I've definitely been there. try to scale it back. I feel like people are pretty. As soon as you like start to hype something up, they get really resistant.
You should just be. I'm just gonna leave it here. If you want to listen to it, that's up to you.
Yeah. Whoops.
I mean, if you like.
Oh, where's my Glows Then Melts vinyl? Oh, I left it at so and so's house. So we have a, well, it's not a saying, it's not like an American saying, but there's a saying called throwing your pearls before swine. And it comes from the Holy Bible, and it basically means when you show somebody something very, very special and like intimately important to you, and they completely disregard it. Have you ever felt like you were throwing your pearls before swine when you showed somebody a song or album?
I don't know. I have a hard time thinking about my suggestions as pearls.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe sometimes if I showed something to like a family member that isn't into like alternative culture, that like are more into like the very mainstream stuff, and you show them like say Caroline Polachek, and they're like, it's a bit odd.
Yeah, they can't even hear the beauty. You know what I mean? It's funny if your ears aren't tuned into listening for that sort of thing, then you'll just be like, I don't get this. And you're like, well, don't you see that it's weird the way that techno? They don't think people have to be open to special things, or they just don't care. Do your parents like your music?
I really want to know this.
I think like my dad is gone now, so but he did not really enjoy my music when he was alive. I think he said there was a few songs that he said that he liked, but it wasn't the songs that I put in the effort to. I would say my mom is proud, but I don't think she likes the music.
Yeah, it's the same thing with my parents.
They gotta be proud.
Well, my parents are actually annoyed with it, probably. They probably think it distracts me from being a surgeon.
Have you shown them Death Romantique?
No. No. Of course not. Never.
And see, there's this guy named Jumper Kimmins.
I'm certainly not going to show them the music video.
Right, yeah, with the titties. Shout out Jumper Kimmins. Lux has another wonderful question.
One titty in there. He snuck a titty in there. That's totally him.
It was skeleton lipstick coated, and you know it.
It's totally, yeah, of course it's skeleton lipstick coated.
Did you do like the Fight Club thing, with just like the super quick flash?
Yeah, he did that on purpose. I know he did that on purpose.
Oh, that's right. They did do that in Fight. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Jumper definitely did that.
At the beginning, he works at the cinema.
He knew I'd approve too.
Trying to just cut in like this super quick shot of penis.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, my parents don't. I don't think they know I have a new album out. They're like, that's they'll look at me and they say like, that's great, and they're like, please don't let this compromise your professional career.
Oh, that's so funny.
Please don't fuck it up.
Have you guys ever had that comment? Because I love it when that happens to you. You work on an album. Say you work on this album for 2 years. You put your heart and soul into it. Everything. You promote it. It's like 20 posts a day for like a month on Instagram of your new album. The vinyls are coming. Here's the, I don't know, PR shots. Here's alternative PR shots. We're doing a live show, blah, blah, blah. And now the album is actually out. And here's, it's been out for a week now, and blah, blah, blah. And then you meet someone, some friend, and they're like, oh, how's music going? I was like, we just put out an album. Yeah, I saw you put out something. So what's next?
Oh my God.
When's the next album coming? It's like,
I'm going to take a break.
Yeah. I just like...
How funny.
Like when you do that amount of like shoving your new album into people's faces, and the reaction is like,
from someone like a friend.
You put something recently.
Yep.
My favorite
Runners Club, that sounds familiar.
My favorite thing was when I actually became like a professional DJ, like, and I started becoming a resident at like clubs and stuff, and like I was getting paid, like, I actually like, it was a really big deal. to a club allowing you to use their space, and they pay you, like, you know what I mean, like you are now, you're booked there every month and this and that, you have this, and then you talk to people who know you, but like, and they know you, but they don't know you as the artist, they don't know you as the DJ, they don't know you as the producer, they know you as like the guy they went to school with. And like, I had this one friend who went to one of my parties, and then she messaged me. It's like, "Hey, me and my friends want to do a party too. How do you do that? Are the clubs just like happy to have anybody come in?" Like, because they don't know, like, the culture
Yeah.
of like no,
No, I
you
had to
you
claw
don't
my way
understand.
into
Like,
this position.
I had to become very trusted, and I had to make people understand, like the club promoters, the owners, the bar. I had to network. They had to learn to trust me.
Yeah, the
They had to learn
bartenders have to
understand
like
that I
you.
could promote.
Yeah.
They just think that because they only know me as like the guy they sat next to in class. They're like, "Oh, he did it. Well, I guess they just let
Right.
anyone up there."
Yeah.
They're like, "Are the clubs just happy to have anybody go up there and just like I'm like, you, like, no, it's not like that. Like, that's what it's like when the friend's like, "Oh, what do you have next?" Yeah, like, because they don't understand.
Yeah.
They just know you, like the hometown friend or whatever that just knows you as the guy that is on their soccer league or something. You know what I mean? Right? It's just the guy from the soccer league. They must let anybody do this.
I'm from a small village that is like two kilometers outside of this town. It's like a 2,000 people village.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So when you meet some people there, it's like, "Oh, I heard it's going great. I see you're on Spotify now."
Yeah.
I pay
I see
400.
it on Spotify now. There's the people who are like, so, like, wow, ooh, a few listeners, huh? Like,
Spotify. It's like, yeah, I pay for that.
Yeah, right. Goddamn.
oh my god.
Oh, Lux has a great question I want to ask. She wants to she says she would love to hear you expand a bit more on your love of boy bands. You mentioned Five and Backstreet Boys. What other boy bands did you enjoy? And she also would like to know, did they try to push a lot of the U.S. boy bands onto Swedish audiences, or were they more local?
He also was 7.
Backstreet Boys is a US boy band. We had NSYNC.
Right.
And NSYNC was big here, but I think they were bigger in America than they were in Sweden. I think they were, like, in Sweden, I'd say Backstreet Boys was the biggest one, and then maybe NSYNC and Five and Westlife tied second.
It was like it was like an even Backstreet Boys NSYNC duel in the U.S. I feel like.
I had an album with Boyzone. So like, being a guy, it was a bit forbidden to be into boy bands.
Yeah, it was the same here.
Same here.
A lot of toxic masculinity in the early 2000s.
It was here. It was.
You had to listen to Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, exactly. You were either into new metal or you were into the boy bands, and it was actually very contentious. Like TRL was like this call-in vote for your favorite artist show on MTV in America. They filmed it. They had a little thing in Times Square where they had their studio, and it was contentious to see who would get on those top spots, whether it was going to be like Korn's new song or the Backstreet Boys' new song. It was it was interesting. It was an interesting time in the culture at that point. So like
everyone had a guilty pleasure. I don't care what they say.
I was busy listening. I was listening to punk and ska. I didn't listen to either.
We were just talking about ska the other day. There was a fucking Cherry Poppin' Daddy song being played at a Halloween exhibit locally, and I was just like, oh my god, Skeleton Lipstick and probably Wizard of Loneliness would be the only people that would enjoy this.
I don't know if I enjoy it that
or
much.
Or whoever
anymore.
The other ska fan in Vaporwave is.
The other ska fan?
Aw.
Hey. Aw. What
Aw.
are we talking about again?
He can take it.
My love for boy bands. I don't know how to expand on it. It was like, I was really into Backstreet Boys for their first 3 albums. By the time Black and Blue came out, I kind of dropped. I had some CD singles that were like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and Five. I never felt any. That was never a guilty pleasure for me. But then I had some CD singles that were more on the cheesy end that maybe I'd feel a bit uncomfortable with showing the guys in school that I had, and that would be Boyzone, and I had a Westlife single. What's it called? Was What If I Let You Go? Did you have that song in America? I
don't
think
know.
Westlife they did not really go well.
I don't know. I don't think so. I do know the name Westlife, but I can't tell you any songs about them.
Very, very ballady. No up to.
Yeah, I could see like Backstreet Boys being like, "Hey, listen, this is really popular. We all this is accepted by all of pop culture across the world, so it's reasonable." And also, but like there are some of the more like ones that don't have the same credibility in the pop culture lens across the world. I imagine those are the ones you don't want to show people because then it's like, oh, you're a really big fan.
I mean more the ones that were super cheesy romantic ballads.
I bet that got you some pull with the girls though.
He was also 7 when he was listening to this, right?
8 years old.
Oh, you were 8. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Wait, also, I like the fact that you went from that.
Let me work on my listening skills.
Wait, I just like that. It's like you went from that to like I gotta rebel. Where's Marilyn Manson and Eminem? I go the complete opposite direction.
As soon as he hit puberty, he was like, no more.
As soon as he hit puberty, Marilyn Manson and Eminem. It's time for me to be a man.
Yeah. We
All right,
actually had a
question.
Slipknot album as well.
What album?
Slipknot.
Oh, very cool.
There we
Yeah,
go.
the one with Wait and Bleed and Spit It Out. I love those songs.
We got a great question from Lux, and she is asking a popular strip silence question. You need to rank these 3 things in terms of importance to you. And the 3 things are track titles, album title, and album art.
Oh, I feel that's easy. Album art, track titles, album title.
Ah, okay. Yeah, a lot of people say album art. It seems to be the thing that grabs people,
100%. And I mean, do we pay that much attention to album titles? I mean, I tried to put some effort in the album title when we make a Runners album, but like albums I listen to, I don't really pay that much attention.
I try to put a lot of thought into the album titles. Song titles or album title? Album title or song titles?
He ranked album title. No, actually, he ranked song titles above album title. He put album title at the last.
I think album title might be very important, actually.
I could see that. It's like the name of a book versus the names of the chapters.
I put a lot of thought. I put a lot of thought into my most recent album title. I think we do that. I think it's important. I don't think it's as important as the songs or the cover, but I think that if you don't nail the album, it's the difference between you'll get another look if it's a good album title.
I feel like if you are the type of person that releases a lot of singles here and there, maybe song titles may be more important. If you're like
are still important. But I think they are still important.
How do you feel about the self-titled album when it's like your third or fourth album?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Yeah, I think doing that as your third or fourth album.
I think it's confusing as fuck, personally.
Well, I think doing it for your third or fourth album makes sense because now it's like, well, I understand my sound. This is the culmination of me.
Like, you're trying to indicate that this is the quintessential album.
I think that's a good move. When you feel like you've written your quintessential album, you should do it. You should make it your self-titled album. That should be the self-titled one.
Skeleton Lipstick self-titled album win.
I don't know. I keep changing my sound. This last album's like Witch House and like ambient trap. So
I love it. It's my favorite thing you've ever made.
This is why I'll never be on a lot of playlists. It's never going to be consistent. But
Quiz. Sorry, we'll ask Quiz's banger question after what you were going to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so we are working on 2 albums right now. And the next one... So here's my strategy for the next one. I'm being very transparent of the entire process of it.
Here we go.
Nice.
So if we do not count the live album that we did, it will be our 4th album. Like we did 3 studio albums, so this is going to be the 4th album. I think we are going to call it Volume 4.
Ooh. You heard it on Hot Takes.
You heard it. That's the name. I mean, it's a bit stupid. It was like the working name. What is it?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah, that's
when?
what people usually call it, or like a
Yeah,
code name.
Yeah.
the work. Yeah,
Yeah.
but now it's just like maybe just go with it. Like that's the name Vol 4.
That could change by the time you're finished completely, though.
It could. I don't think you have
I've
to be
already
married to
started
it.
to like promote it as Volume 4.
Ooh.
But that would be funny to promote an album with a name, and then during the promotion change the name. Like,
So you
sorry,
confuse people, they don't know how to buy it? That sounds like a bad idea.
yeah,
It could
if they
work.
didn't buy the ad campaign from the beginning,
I mean, all the dilettantes will be thoroughly confused.
but the people who can follow the ad campaign will be
Yeah, the
graciously
inner circle
rewarded.
people.
Yeah, it'll really call out to the real fans.
I tried to really like post about the entire process this time because the other albums we made, like first album, maybe we didn't have any following at all, and I don't think we had any Instagram account or anything like that until the third album anyway. But we've done it a bit more like secretive, so it's like here's the album art like just when it's about to drop. But this time I want to be like, it's not done yet, like this is a work in
Right.
progress, just like here's a demo and see. You know when people always say like, oh, it's really good to be a DJ when you're a producer because you can try your songs out on an audience every night.
Good point.
Yeah, so I'm taking that to Instagram, like, yeah, we made this demo and I put it online on Instagram, and I'll see how people react to it, and oh, maybe this is a good one, let's put it on the album then.
Yeah, you could do one of
Yeah.
those like not to necessarily suggest, but like a lot of people will do like AI generated like 80s VHS or whatever, and then they'll put their own song over it, and it like sometimes does super well, and it's like, oh, who made the song? Aha, funny you mention. You know.
Yeah. I'm not sure. This is going to be it was going to be an EP at first, but now we have so many songs, it might be a short album. We'll see. It's going to be a different one.
What do you mean different?
So we're referencing a different. So basically, Runners Club is always going to be like a nostalgic band, even though the music may not always be vaporwavy. Like our last album wasn't very vaporwavy, but I still think it leans into the nostalgic.
I agree.
So maybe it's more like a project that would fit into the vaporwave scene without actually doing super genre typical music. But this one is the thing that we are working on not right now, references. So say like Wave usually references 80s music, early 90s music. This record references a time that also referenced that music. So in the mid 2000s we had this like 80s like retro period.
Yeah, especially like kind of like with that one M83 album and various other like Bloghouse stuff happening.
Interpol.
That's Interpol.
I can have a quick look at my mood board playlist that I usually make. See if there was a record label called Ministry of Sound. I think they're back now though. But the sort of thing they put out in the mid 2000s. Where's my playlist? There. Chromeo.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Chromeo kind of.
I mean, Kylie Minogue did that sort of thing in the mid 2000s as well. Tiga, do you know Tiga?
Yeah, Tiga.
Yeah. We're kind of referencing that sort of thing. So it's like
Which was
we're
referencing 80s.
referencing
Okay.
music that referenced 80s instead of instead of us referencing
It's like a
the
memory
80s,
of a memory.
sort of like that.
Very cool.
That's interesting.
I like that.
Yeah. So we'll see. We haven't we have this idea. We have some demos. We're working on them. It's not done yet. So we'll see where we end up. But
Well,
yeah.
we have two really
Very
great
cool.
questions that are very relevant to that. Actually, Lux wanted to know why you have two albums in the works. Are they
Okay.
different concepts or
love-
different sounds?
No, so this album is actually in the works. Like we are making the music.
Okay.
Our plan is to put this out early next year.
Very cool.
The other album is just in like we have an idea.
Okay.
We haven't started making the music yet.
Okay.
We have a rough idea of a time period for when to make it and when to put it out. We are starting to get the concept. Like we do not have the music, but we are starting to get the idea of what we're going to do.
I got you.
Yeah, so we
Makes
have like
sense.
this flow with reference arts and songs that we want to reference, and maybe some. Actually, that album is more. I'm not going to talk too much about that album yet because I'm going to be a bit more with that one. But
Yeah, just because you haven't started it yet. No, don't talk about it. If you start talking about it, it'll be just as satisfying hearing everyone's reaction to it as if you actually made it. So really, until you start working on it, for sure, you'll be like,
Okay.
a dopamine hit will come in because people will love what you're going to say.
Yep. But then you'll be beholden to it.
We'll hear about it eventually.
Yeah.
One other good question regarding those works you have in progress. Quiz wanted to know how important is an album theme to an album?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, concept albums, I guess. Do you like
Well,
them? Do you
okay.
hate them?
It's not.
I love Graceland.
So here's the
Okay.
thing, I don't even think it needs to be a concept album. The theme could just be.
Does it have to have a cohesive theme?
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, it doesn't have to, but I don't know. I think it's really good that it does have a
You
consistent
prefer it to?
voice. Well, everything I've ever made has even though there's no theme exactly that's very specifically spelled out, it's the same feeling throughout everything. It's the same, but coming from this, you want to feel the hand of the creator in everything, and then you can
Fair.
feel that when there's a what does theme mean? Doesn't mean let's stay away from the idea of like a specifically spelled out concept like album, but maybe like I don't know. Last time I put out, it should all sound like it's in the same world.
Yeah, like a
I think
unified
that's-
sound.
I think the feeling you get is the theme, right? Or the
A similar sound font for all the tracks.
I will never ever use the word vibe because I don't like it, but I'll say atmosphere.
You don't like the word vibe? Why not?
I fucking hate that because it's a good way for people to not explain themselves.
Oh, okay.
I hate that word. I hate
Just as much as or more than you hate liminal. Which one do you hate more?
I'll stick with liminal's fine, but I hate the vibe. I just don't like if you ask people why they like it. Oh, I know, I like the vibe. I'm like, well, okay, what does that mean? And like, vibe. No, I just don't because
Okay, I get it. It's just like it's a simple catch-all cop-out term.
No, it's
Fair.
just making the English language dumber. And there's so many beautiful words out there to explain yourself. And I enjoy when people explain why they love things. Or I enjoy when people explain why they connect with things. I like it when people self-reflect and figure out why they like something or why they connect with something. That's really important. And when people use these shortcut words, it's stopping them from being smart and being
Just like saying
emotional.
very. There's that
It's-
famous saying
it's
about like
there's
putting
so many-
very
if
in
you
front
don't
of a
connect-
word instead of using the
if
word.
you're connecting with the vibe, it means something deeply emotional is happening to you. So now you're just not going to examine those emotions. You're just going to use this word. You're not going to think. And I don't like that. I like people to feel things. And I think that using these shortcut words stops people from feeling things. It makes people colder and stupider.
That is really interesting. I have like, because one thing I picked up when I did this, I talked about earlier when I just went in and listened to and read and watched everything with these 5 producers. I was like, okay, big news. Emotions are the most important thing in music, not how you EQ your bass. So I was like,
yeah.
okay, I really need to like dig deeper into the emotional, like I need to analyze the emotions of music more than I analyze frequency balance and stuff like that.
It's a
So
great lesson.
yeah,
I mean, think about Echo Jams. Did the guy even master it? I don't know. Who cares? Like, it captured a essential. I don't want to say vibe. I don't want to say vibe. I really don't want to say vibe.
Atmosphere. Let's say atmosphere. Atmosphere.
yeah. But then so I start to like dig deep into this, and I have like playlists of different emotions that I'm trying to like. Okay, these songs makes me feel a certain way. What is it? How can I like reverse engineer that? What is it that makes me feel that way? Because the songs are completely different, but they make me feel the same way. They produce, they translate the same feeling, even though they sound different. Somewhere,
Yeah.
there's an element in these songs that translates that feeling.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the chords. I don't know, something like that. I need to start
Well,
like.
you know, the thing is, it could be the chords for one song, and it could be the texture of the square wave in another song, but it's doing the same thing. So it might not always. You know what I mean? Like
You
for
don't
this
think
song,
it's like you don't think there's like a set of tools being
I do. I do think there's a set of tools. Yeah.
that it like if you want the song to feel like this, these are the elements you should use.
No, I don't.
I
think that,
I saw somewhere
Um,
online. It was like all the keys, and it was like this feels triumphant. This feels
No.
morose. This feels yearning. This feels hopeful. And I was like,
I do.
I like
believe that.
that.
And I don't. I do and I don't. Because I think that it's just if you're in that headspace and you're feeling that feeling, you're gonna claw your way. You're gonna claw that into reality somehow, and maybe you'll do it through the chords. Maybe because you said these songs all sound different. So maybe some ways, one time they're doing it through chords, one time they're doing it through layering a bunch of synths on top of each other.
Yeah.
One time they're doing it with an acoustic guitar. One time they're doing it with just drums and a bass. One time they're doing it with synthesizers, and one time they're playing one chord and holding it down and just like letting it expand. And then So I think that there might be a toolbox, but you don't need to use every tool, and you can use different.
and it doesn't
tools
work
from
the
that
same
song.
on everybody.
Because you just said you're listening to different music. It's giving you the same feeling.
But I can only like when I make music. So say with the next Runners Club song, I want to portray a certain feeling.
Yeah.
I want you to feel a certain way. I can only like look into myself and think, what does make me feel that way? What songs make me feel that way? And if I can gather like 5 of those songs, 10 maybe, and see if there's common
Boiled down to similarities.
denominator, like
Yeah.
can I somehow like learn what buttons to push in order to make something that gives me that emotion, and just hope that that will also translate to other people?
Yeah, maybe it's an interesting scientific experiment that you're conducting. It might work, and it'll definitely work if you're feeling that way while you're making the song and using. Okay, you might be able to double your chances of this by feeling that way while you make the song and using the tools that you've noted. If you don't feel that way while you're making the song and you're just using the tools, then it might not work.
Yeah. Because you need to be authentic.
You got to have both those things. You have to have the tools, and then you have to have the mind and the headspace while you're using the tools. Because I bet there's a lot of people that just use the tools and they don't have their mind and their heart in it, and then it comes off as, what's the word? When something is a copy of a copy, or like it sounds derivative. That's it. If you don't have your mind and your heart if you don't keep your mind and your heart in the feeling that you want, and you're just using the tools, then that's when we call things derivative, right? Is they're just trying to, you can feel them trying to pretend to be Joy Division, but they're not Joy Division. You know what I mean? Like I think that a lot of modern old wave bands out there are very derivative of like the original acts.
Oh yeah,
like
you specifically mentioned a specific guy that everyone's emulating in the very last episode.
I'm talking. They think because they use Pierre Hook's bass line.
I said, hold on, I'm talking.
No, because this is important. I don't want people to keep making this music anymore. So, like they take that Pierre Hook bass line. I don't want people to make this music anymore. They take Pierre Hook's bass line from Joy Division and New Order. It's very easy to copy that, but because that music gives you a specific feeling. So they think that that's a tool that they can steal and put into their music, and they're not feeling the way that those people felt when they make that music. So it doesn't work and it sounds derivative. So you got to do both. But then there's bands like Black Marble that are doing that as well, but are feeling those feelings and making that music, and it works. So you need both, or else you're derivative.
To roll back about the thing about theme in music, I think if you are being authentic, write about the things that you think about and with the feelings that you actually feel, your music is going to have like a red thread. Do you say red thread in English as well when it's like?
Isn't it like a thread that connects everything in an invisible way?
You say through line, but red thread's not the same as a through line.
Like a theme, because I mean, I guess most of us, we only have like a few things that we want to address in our art, like a few ideas, a few opinions. So if you are only authentic to your own emotions, your own ideas, your music is inevitably gonna have a theme, and that theme is going to be you.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Well, fellas, I hate to say it, but we need to wrap up. It is the top of the hour. The show needs to come to a close. I know, isn't that crazy? But we like to give a few minutes to. Right. We like to give a few minutes to the guest du jour at the end of the show to promote anything you like, shout out anybody that you want, or just really say anything you like. You have the floor.
I think we do still have a few left of these over at My Pet Flamingo's Bandcamp. And look at
Shout
this
out
one.
My Pet Flamingo.
Beautiful, beautiful piece of art. Wow. Oh, that is great. That's gorgeous.
Just love to take a bite out of that.
And listen to all my friends' music as well, because all my Wave friends are making fantastic music, and we are only a failed attempt at copying what everyone else is doing.
Oh, says you.
Oh my gosh. How humble. It's beautiful work.
Indeed.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been really fun.
Oh, of course. It was an
absolutely.
absolute pleasure. And please let Maria know that we love and appreciate and respect her as well. I just want to... Yeah, go ahead.
Is there anything else that you want to promote? Anything else that you want to shout out? Any other things that we should be on the lookout for?
Our next album, Volume 4, early 2025.
Okay.
Hell yeah, early 2025.
I wanted to remind everybody of that again.
Yeah,
nice.
Volume 4.
Damn, son.
So we got a couple cool things coming up I want to name drop. Utopia District's got Vapor Rays coming up on the 9th of November at 1 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/Utopia District. Lots of people involved. Charity live stream fundraiser with all donations going towards ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Got a 20-minute neo R&B set that I'm premiering, so it should be fun. Lots of how to dress well, magic fades type stuff. Just got done with a set for Rochefest too. You can check that out on my SoundCloud and YouTube with visuals courtesy of Solo Dolo 84. 20 minutes of Brother Tiger, George Clanton, that sort of thing. Just good, fun, chill wave stuff. People seem to like it. And then, of course, the following weekend, on the 16th of November, we've got Vaporade Live, a combination of Quiz and Don McLennan of Brockhampton fame, putting together a part live, part digital, or not digital, like virtual performances. And Skelly, you're involved with that, IRL. I believe
doing one of
the poster is out.
I'll be hopefully have figured out how to play my new album live by then.
Yep. Oh, dude, that'll be so good. I've got you got come on. I believe in you.
I may have some other members in the Skeleton Lip Sync band for it.
Well, I'll be very excited to see you perform Death Romantique live, man, because I'm a fan for sure.
Thank you.
Got a 20-minute like wave/witch house set. More wave than witch house. But some Salem, some.
You know I'm gonna appreciate that.
Oh man, I know you'll like it. 20 minutes worth. I've sent it to Quiz 3 times. So hopefully it gets some play and people enjoy it. So tune in on the 19th of November. what time is it quiz? I just closed out. But anyways, it's I believe it's going to be on the I believe it's going to be on Don McLennan's channel. But yeah, check that out, and then of course, hopefully, he said 2 p.m. 2 p.m. the 16th. There you go. Vaporade Live. It's gonna be good. Poster was designed again by B-Fan, so it'll be really great. So y'all tune in for that shit. We got both boys involved in Vaporade Live. Are you on Vapor? Are you on the Vapor Rays as well with Utopia District or no? You, Chris.
Me?
Yeah.
Am I Vapor Rays with Utopia?
You're not on
District?
Vapor
No.
Rays? Okay, damn.
No.
It's a stacked lineup as well. Anyways,
No, I
that's what I got going on.
Don't.
Nah, you're good, man. What do you have going on? Anything
I
cool?
can't do much more.
I know, man.
It was,
Other than Death Row Antique, what do you have?
me? My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, not that much. I guess Death Row Antique, there's the album cover for it. You can
Beautiful.
still listen to it on Bandcamp. It's a fun little photograph taken by Rich Sanders. The cassettes are sold out much faster than I thought they would be. So, but it will be on streaming services probably in a few more weeks though. But you can still listen to it on Hush Tones Bandcamp. And there might be a vinyl release in the future. We'll see. I got to get that together. And that's good. That's enough.
Do you have any clips coming up or no?
Yes, but there's actually, I'm not going to say it. There's going to be that party's expanding soon,
Okay.
and it's going to be a 2-room party at some point in the near future. And in one room, there'll be like the traditional goth cold wave music, and then in my room,
Peter Hook
there will
bass
be
lines.
In my room will be the Witch House and Wave and Dark
Sick.
Synth jams.
Love it.
So it's going to become a all-encompassing goth party. How fun!
Yeah, no, that's smart. That's really good.
We're
Support
moving
that.
it to a bigger venue, and so it's going to be interesting.
It's not going to be, what is it called? Milk Boy? It's not going to be Milk Boy anymore?
Yes, now we'll be at Underground.
What a name.
Underground Art, I shouldn't announce that yet, but I am going to. Oh, actually, no, it's been announced. Yeah, it's been announced. So I think that'll be happening in February.
Too cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I was
man.
gonna have.
I hope there's a good
all right,
turnout.
okay.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Carl, thank you so much for being our esteemed guest for the night. You were delightful. The people will, if you guys did get to tune in live, you're probably listening right now via podcasting services or YouTube. If you're not, you can find us on YouTube and places like Amazon Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and Google Podcasts as well. Apple Podcasts too. Yeah, the good stuff. But you'll find that in the next coming days. Check out Runners Club 95. Lux linked the socials earlier. Shout out Lux for all the links. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. We appreciate you guys, whether you were a first-time chatter or a regular. We appreciate you guys from the bottom of our hearts. Don't forget to share Hot Takes around if you feel like it's a good show, if you found something that you enjoyed. Don't forget to donate if the spirit moves you. All donations go towards, things like getting us new webcams, commissioning artists. Jump in our Discord. We'd love to have you join the team. It's a fun, zany place where we chat about our favorite music and argue about, whether it's okay to eat a burrito without unfoiling the foil first, that's a hot debate topic, just saying.
You eat foil.
I unwrap it completely, but, no shade to anyone that wants to do it a different way. Yeah, that seems to be, I guess I'm the Philistine, I don't know. But anyways, Spotify, check out our playlists. We've got a very special guest coming up in 2 weeks. At 8 p.m., our normal time, 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday, November 11, we, by popular vote amongst the mods, server members, and general public, are going to be bringing on somebody named Dream Castle. If you're not familiar, I gave Skelly the lowdown. Check out Dream Castle. He makes
check this guy out.
A variation of dungeon synth music that is Lego themed. He's literally 3D printed his own Lego head, sewn his own Lego wizard costume, does live shows, and renders all of his music videos in a program where he constructs actual Lego sets from the 90s in brick by brick fashion and then renders them. So Dream Castle has been voted to be our next guest, and we're very excited to bring them on. But either way, thank you guys so much for being a part of the community. Thank you, Runners Club. Thank you, Carl. and have a good night.
Good night,
Say-
guys.
That's a hot take.
So I have a hot take for you. My hot take? Well, I think some artists need to put a little more energy in their live set.
Overly complicated tracks are things that kind of ruin a track for me.
Don't stick to any kind of genre label.
Future bass is the worst music genre ever created.
Barber Beats was the original vaporwave. Fuck General MIDI Choir. It's all bad.
Bruh.
Worst album artwork I've ever seen is Green Day's Father of All Motherfuckers, probably.
I find new music often, and I usually illegally download it.
Stuff that sounds good. Sampleless vaporwave is still vaporwave, buddy. MIDI wave is a form of vaporwave. Deal with it. Gen Z is the future of vaporwave. I said it.
What is your musical guilty pleasure, Babe Bearer?
It's gotta be K-pop.
If you don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream, you are a baby.
Music isn't real. I smell weed. I'm Dan Mason. This is Babe Eric. This is FM Skyline.
This is Mesh.
Yo, this is Groovy Kaiju. This is Christ. You're listening to
Hot takes.
That's the one.
Don't touch my records. Ever.